Hello, I'm Sahil Majeed.
Hi, this is Meera Krishnadas. Thanks for tuning in. We are going to talk about the clean labeling in the food industry, how it works, why it matters, and how important it is for the food industry and for the people.
Have you ever picked up a food and have tried to read the ingredients? You might have noticed a number of ingredients. You might have puzzled looking at it, seeing so many ingredients that is very unfamiliar with you, and thought that, oh, is it really harmful to you or is it really required in this food? So, Clean Label is all about simplifying this and bringing the food closer to you by simplifying the ingredients, familiarizing the products that you eat so that you get confidence on what you're eating.
Okay, so let's start simple. Is clean label a formal regulation?
It is not a formal regulation. The market is driven by the consumer's choices. It's how the consumer perceives the food as it is. So basically, it's what the consumer would like to see in the label, and based on what he will choose the product. So it's largely consumer driven. It's not a formal regulation at all.
So, in Europe and North America, there has been a lot of focus on sustainability and sourcing along with this nutrition and additives. So, it's basically not a one size fits all, but it's more about honesty.
In the current market, people are really educated. You have to think that everybody is handy with the informations.
Mm-hmm.
Every data, every information is within their reach.
Yes.
So the moment you claim something in your label, they are going to cross-check the data. They know the cocoa is coming from where, they know the carbon footprint that it travels from which country to which country. So you can't just put some claim on it and then keep quiet.
Right. So, people are empowered basically about, they have a lot of knowledge, they can Google anything they want. So, when we put a claim on the product label, so they have to be more careful, especially the manufacturers, because the claim needs to be proven.
Well, I have also spoken about it in various conferences and conclaves, and I've been a part of panel discussion with a lot of people who are very pioneer in this clean label systems. So what I do understand is that a lot of this information that we put in the label mostly is not only to do a marketing, is to gain their trust basically. So what when we say that it's a no added sugar product, when the consumer chooses no added sugar product, it it literally creates a trend in shifting the ingredient, in shifting the manufacturing process to a no added trend,
Mm-hmm.
no added sugar trend. So basically, food products that is being produced with completely sugar, which is like natural sugars or added sugars, those kind of products, when now being prepared in future, when it is written as no added sugars, they tend to use different kind of ingredients to say the claim that it is no added sugar. This is a paradigm shift in the manufacturing process that has been developed recently.
And also, when it comes to certain very common additives, which is known to everyone, are preservatives, colorants, right? Then, so now what we see is that the trend is to not have any preservatives. We say no preservatives. And what are the other things? Artificial colors?
Yeah, so to say that it isn't having no preservatives, it's a big step.
Yes.
So you have to revamp the whole specification for this.
It's a big challenge
And
for
it,
the manufacturers.
yes, and it
Right.
affects the shelf life.
Shelf life, yes. Yes.
And you have to have the legal and regulatory parts being taken care of. And this is
Yes.
where the regulation comes into play with the clean label.
So
So
going.
you will say that it's not having preservatives, and you will
Yes.
still keep the same shelf life, but you need to now prove how does this shelf life works for the same product.
Yes. If you're a health conscious person, take for example your favorite snack after a gym workout, say for example a protein bar. What do you expect to see? A long list of unknown ingredients like demineralized whey protein, then XYZ protein, and something that you don't know. Or is it that you would like to see some simple ingredients like oats, granola, then pea protein maybe? Yes, pea. So these are things that which is known to us like honey. These are natural components. So these are things that is known to us, and we prefer to choose the ones with simple ingredients rather than the complex one with unknown things, right? So basically, we are talking about transparency. The person, the consumer, needs to know what he is taking in or consuming.
This is exactly this. This is the familiarity of that ingredients that makes him choose it. So that's why manufacturers now, for example, now if you want to make a protein bar, you need to add dye. You need to add some kind of sugar,
Yes.
right? Because it should be tasty as well.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
you can't have a
Yes.
snack which tastes nothing. So what they do is that instead of red dye, they use beet juice.
Yeah.
So beet is actually a source of redness. So they use beet juice, which is natural
Yes.
and which can be easily claimed in the label. And instead of having directly sugar, they
Yeah.
have natural alternative to sugar.
Yes.
They
Honey.
they can use honey,
Yes.
and they can use various other probabilities. So this is how the product is becoming clean.
So basically, we are going back to a very simple list of ingredients that will definitely is going to help us make a healthy choice.
The clean label movement trend often overlaps with the functional foods, like
Mhm.
foods which provides immunoboosters,
Mhm.
foods which acts as fiber rich and help your gut digestion, gut health, increase your gut health.
Right.
So there are a lot of food that is being claimed like that. But when you look into when you deep dive into those foods, what do you see? We kind of recognize that these foods are basically the same. They are not having any kind of a different ingredient rather than what was existing.
So, like you already mentioned about this functional foods, can we talk about this immunoboosters, which is gaining a lot of popularity these days because of certain health conditions and things? People are more into the immunoboosting foods. So, take for example some kind of immunoboosting tea which has ginger, which has a lot of vitamin C. So there are so many claims that comes up for marketing these kind of products. But have you ever wondered what the percentage of these functional ingredients or the active ingredients are going to be in these products?
Most of the time, you can say that it's basic tea, and the active ingredient is very minimal to less than 1% of the product. So it is as good as not having them.
So basically, like it's just being marketed for the sake of, you know,
I'm not telling everyone is.
yeah, not everyone, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
The
We cannot generalize it for sure. But we have to be smart enough to understand
Yeah.
that.
So this is what the consumers are asking for.
Yeah.
When you say you have an active ingredient, when you claim you have a immunoboosting capacity,
Yes.
you need to be claiming that based on a conclusive market study or conclusive evidence of research that you have, and that you should be able to communicate these evidences
Right.
smartly through your labels, through your advertisement to the community so that they understand why do we say this. And like if you just put a tea with nothing and you say that you have active ingredient in it, it's not like going to work like the past days, because
Right.
people started to read ingredients and they know what causes immunity, what doesn't give you immunity.
Although there are many claims on the food that cannot be validated, but there are simple ones which can easily be validated, such as no added sugar, no cholesterol, low cholesterol. So we can obviously take the help of labels to verify the claim.
For example, in the current scenario, with the technology that companies like us have, the lab that we have in UAE, we will be able to validate so many of the complicated claims to ensure that this has transparency. No added sugar is now a stranger. It has been started from a long time. We're able to do that. No GMO. We are able to
Yes.
do that.
Yes.
No pork fat, no trans fat, and various other claims which is difficult in previous years.
Yes.
with the help of latest technology like IRMS and various other instruments that we have right now in the lab, it's very easy nowadays to validate those claims.
So, to validate a clean label, SGS can obviously be your trusted partner. We validate it through the set of regulatory requirements as well. So, the consumer is on the safer side. He or she can choose a product just based on the labels because we verify the labels too.
It very well aligns with the clean label movements too, because when you say the requirement clearly mentions when you have a reconstituted juice, you have to mention it as a reconstituted juice. When you have a juice which is like directly extracted from the pulp, that has to be stated. And when you have a mixed juice with a lot of other ingredients in it, that's also going in as all the ingredients should be stated based on the quantity of the ingredients.
Yeah.
So which makes it more convenient for a consumer to understand what's going into their body, and is it a reconstituted juice, or is it like a 100% juice which is extracted from pulp, or just flavors and water.
Yes, exactly.
Most of the time when products like allergen free products are being produced, and you set up a factory which is well designed to facilitate any kind of to facilitate the uh, elimination of chances of any cross contamination for allergen to the product, and you secure products that are allergen free from the market. Like for example, I can take an example of gluten free. You're making a gluten free bread, and you have procured gluten free flour from specifically certified organizations. But then and then other ingredients to it, which adds on to it.
Mm-hmm.
You're then procuring bread improver or the flour improver or other ingredients.
Additives.
And sometimes what happens is that the gluten enters through these ingredients into the mainstream, and the product gets contaminated. You will get to know about it only when sometimes you test it, or the regulatory authority tests it, or somebody having a problem comes back to you and saying that there is a allergic reaction that has been taken place.
So that's a big challenge, having a claim on your product saying that it's gluten free, but somehow somebody says it is not because of the testing what they do. So sourcing, that's where
Yeah,
it
so
matters.
this is the problem in the when it comes to the supply chain complexity.
Yeah.
Now we are not sourcing from one place.
Mhm.
UAE is just like a world map. You have a lot of food coming in from different country. If you take a shawarma wrap,
Yeah.
you have the the flour coming from Canada, the chicken coming from Brazil,
Yes.
the onions coming from India. So it's just like a wrap of a world map in it. So a lot of supply chain activities happens, and there will be farmers, there will be consolidators, and then there will be people who mill it, who pack it. So all through these stages, if there is no transparency, and if you don't find a proper transparency or chain of transparency in this, you will end up having a food which is gluten free or having allergen, and you must be claiming it as allergen free.
Right. Your market is changing. Likewise, your consumers are also evolving.
Having a strategy for consumer friendly, clean label products is the key recipe for building long term consumer trust.